the idea of like going somewhere and walking around amongst people and doing these things seems like such an extreme luxury now. You know, it's scary to think that.
Like, remember when we used to be like, oh, let's get fries for the table. Welcome to Band Together, Season 3.
Now with video. How you guys doing?
Isolated and alone, you know. No.
I feel like
hanging in there. I mean, I think everyone's kind of doing the same, which is like, all right.
I was going to say, I feel like I haven't seen you guys in forever. And for the first time in a while, I actually haven't seen you guys in forever.
Yeah,
like, how long has it been since we actually, like...
It's been since March, at least, I think March 9th or something.
Yeah, at least a month, but probably longer.
Oh, definitely longer.
3 months.
Yeah, well,
3 months or so.
I saw Liam like probably the most recent because we ran into each other in our rehearsal space, but that was, you know.
That was unplanned though, wasn't it?
It was unplanned.
That's what you think.
Unplanned.
John and I have had scheduled weekly hangs.
Scheduled weekly hangs.
I mean, whatever, as long as you're wearing masks and desanitizing yourselves, I don't care. So I assume that everyone has had heightened music consumption in this time indoors. So should we move into music picks?
Sure.
Okay.
You guys go first because I need to think about mine.
Does anyone want to go first? Should I go first? I'll go first. Oh, and go ahead.
So I have a couple. The first one is a British R&B singer named Tora.
Tora.
She's really small. She's only 20 years old, which is crazy.
Oh.
She has like not blown up yet, but it's pretty clear to me that she's going to. It's annoying that she's successful in 20, but that's fine. That's a different issue. But yeah, Tora, Call Your Name. Super interesting kind of vibey R&B. I really dig her stuff. And then I'm doing a special shout out. Someone in the Discord posted a mashup, a Neil Chicharega mashup called Wow Wow, and it's Stephen Miller Band and Will Smith. But it's so good. It's like art. He like completely transforms all the songs. It's
when you said
amazing.
Stephen Miller Band, my head went
Steve Miller Band?
Yeah, Steve Miller Band. Because Stephen Miller Band would be like my worst nightmare.
Dude, you said Stephen Miller Band.
I did. I bet he does have a band too, and I bet it's the worst fucking thing.
Oh, and you have Stephen Miller on the mind.
I just love that guy. What can I say?
Not on this pod.
And then I'll throw in the thing I sent you, John. I hope this wasn't going to be one of your picks.
I had it as an option, but I figured you would pick it, so I have other options, so I could avoid that. I'll avoid Heat. I'll let you do it.
Okay. Heat. It's H.E.A.T. It's a Swedish like hard rock kind of throwback like hair metal band.
Okay.
They just released a new album. They have a song called One by One.
Yeah.
And it's just the jam. They're awesome.
Yeah.
And the guitar player is incredibly good.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Cool.
It's basically hair metal. Like sometimes I want to say it's almost power metal-ish, but not enough double kick to do that.
I sent it to John when I discovered it, and I was like, I just know that he's.
I listened to the whole. I've listened to the whole album several times now, so I'll also vouch for the song "Dangerous Ground." It just sounds like something that should be on Top Gun. Because of course it's like dangerous ground. It's like, it should be on Top Gun Maverick. If you're listening, Top Gun 2 people, you have time because you're probably holding back the release of Maverick because of COVID. So you should add Dangerous Ground.
That's some heat, dude.
That's a good point. We could affect the film industry with this podcast right now.
Exactly.
Someone tweet at Tom Cruise or whoever is in charge.
Yeah. Does he have a Twitter? I don't know. Tom Cruise. Yeah. Tom Cruise. Yeah. He's like in charge of it, right? He's producing it.
Probably.
Does he have a Twitter?
Maybe.
Oh yeah, he does.
He's got it, right?
Oh yeah.
Got to get the Scientology word out.
I was going to say the Scientologists are controlling it.
Probably.
It's all Top Gun related. All of his last like 50 posts.
Sick.
I mean,
good. That's all we care about.
Yeah.
Maverick is back.
Maverick is back.
So who's next?
I'll go next. I'll keep this short and sweet. My first pick is Anderson .Paak, Make It Better, featuring Smokey Robinson,
Mm-hmm.
the one and only. Such a jam. Such a good summer jam.
Nice.
My second pick is Perfume Genius, Slip Away. And I'd heard this song and I loved this song. And then it kind of was out of rotation for a little bit. And then I watched the movie Booksmart, and
Such a good movie.
It is an excellent sync in that movie. Sometimes like when a song comes on in a movie, it just sort of like really brings you back to a moment in your life or whatever it is. And I feel like that's such a good moment when she like plunges into the pool and that song comes on. It's so good. It's such a good sync. So I have like a double positive association with that song. And there's an amazing song Exploder about it. So I recommend checking that out because they really do some deep dives into the meaning behind the song and a lot of the production elements that are fascinating. And then my last music pick is the queen herself, Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm picking Formation, which I think was her first single off of Lemonade, but
Was it?
I think it was. And it's, I don't know. The more I listen to that track, the more I am obsessed with it. And the lyrics are amazing. I mean, everything about that song is amazing.
That's
the more
awesome.
you listen. So that's my
Queen Bee.
pick for the day.
All right, John.
I have three. I'm gonna go. So my first pick is a jazz artist called Somi. She's like, it's like her stuff's like jazz, and it's kind of like it has some hip hop influence in it, but it is kind of defined as jazz. The song's called "They're Like Ghosts," off of her album's called Petite Afrique. Petite Afrique. That's sorry. My second pick, I just came across this on like a Spotify like artist you may like thing. This Polish artist, she's a Polish bass player named
Kinga?
Glick. I think Glyk. So Glick or Glyk. I
Wait,
guess.
does she wear? Does she wear
wears
like
a hat. She sure does.
I thought she was German.
Oh, I know
She's
who
Polish.
this is too.
Yeah,
She's
she's
really
Polish.
good. She did a dope one with Mateus Asato. Like a
Yeah,
dope-
but she has a song. She has an album. She has a lot of covers on YouTube too, so you can see like a lot of songs that might be like bass heavy. She'll do covers of and makes them crazier because she's amazing at bass. But the song's called "Joy Joy," off her recent album. And my final pick is a German drummer named Annika Niles. Niles or Niles.
That sounds super familiar.
Yeah. She might be she might do YouTube stuff too, but she's more like a fusion-y stuff. So her album's like a fusion instrumental record, and the song I'm gonna pick is the first song off her recent album and the song's called Neon. So
All right.
yeah.
All right.
Cool.
I guess it's my turn. All right. So
Sure is.
Let's see here. I'm going to start with, so I've been doing these, and we'll get into our COVID quarantine stuff, but I've been doing these live streams, and I've been doing the cover live streams every other week. So I'm going to choose a few songs from that. And I guess I'll just go in order. The first one I did was a Smashing Pumpkins covers thing. And I think probably one of their most underrated songs and most beautiful songs is a song called Stand Inside Your Love. It's just lyrically speaking, super, super gorgeous. And, a lot of people seem to have struggles with the Smashing Pumpkins because they just can't get behind his voice. And I think it's kind of a generational thing. Some people can't get into
his meaning Billy Corgan.
Yeah, Billy Corgan. Like some people can't get behind Dylan or like Conor Oberst for the same thing. But his lyricism is amazing. And honestly, I absolutely adore Corgan's voice. So for me, that's a great pick. So check it out. My second pick is going to be Time After Time.
Ooh, love that song.
Yeah, man. I had a weird aversion to 80s music for like all of my 20s, or at least my early 20s. And, that's a song that you hear and but I had heard it, I knew it, but I never really sat down, listened to the lyrics, like tried to understand what it was about. All I really knew was time after time.
I know, right?
That's a song.
Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper, right? Of course.
and yeah, her lyrics. It's a beautiful song. It's almost as good as her theme song to the Goonies. But no, it's a really great song. I highly recommend checking that out. If you haven't heard it.
I don't think that there's one person on planet Earth who has it.
I mean, there's some youngins that might not know who Cyndi Lauper is,
Yeah, true.
You never know.
The young generation.
Yeah. It's the sound of a new generation. My next pick is going to be, I think probably, how like there's songs that just connect with you. I mean, John and I have Let Go by Frou Frou. When we hear it, we just get taken into a tunnel. But I think one of the ones that just always gets to me that I think is super beautiful is John Legend's Ordinary People. I just think it's a phenomenal song. It's performed live. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
That's an LB certified perfect song with a capital P and a capital S.
There you go. And I got one more. I'm going 4 deep just because this is another song that I always liked, but when I dived into it to do the cover of it, I just fell in love with it. Freedom by the Queen Bee herself, Beyonce.
Oh, lucky everyone. Two Beyonce picks in one
now,
pod.
I'm gonna preface this though.
It's too much.
Number one, if you can find it, and if you can find an HD copy of it, please send it to me on the socials. But if you can find the version that she did with Kendrick Lamar at the BET Awards, it is one of the most amazing live performances. Just the way it's done, the way it's curated, it's amazing. So check that out. And for all of you, music people out there, especially those who think, oh, it's a pop singer, I'm not going to give it too much weight. Go on to, I would never usually suggest removing Beyonce's vocals from a song, but go on YouTube, type in Beyonce Freedom Karaoke, find the version that's instrumental, because the back players are the most like soulful, like church, like pocket players. It's super, super good.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Beyonce seems to have access to the world's greatest musicians and then records them for her records.
Who would think? But anyway, those are my picks. There we are. And now we are here. And I guess it's time to talk about the...
We're all here, but apart.
Yeah. Band Apart?
Band Apart should be the name of this podcast.
That's so sad. That's true. So the end of season 2 took place right before our Presidio theater show and before we did Romeo and Juliet in Chicago.
Right.
So, I mean, the Presidio theater show, amazing. What else is there to say? We had an incredible crew with us. The staff, everybody that works the theater is amazing. All the musicians who played with us, amazing. I mean, it was great. It
was crazy, just mainly because, it was the extended family. We decided to kind of do something similar to what we did back in the day, which was like a larger extended family. We used to try to fit as many people on stage as possible when we started the band, playing in like cafes. I think Bizarre Cafe, we had like 16 people once or something like that. Which that room holds like 30. But that show, it was kind of like this weird era, like through the eras of TFC in terms of the extended family. And when we did our sound check, we randomly just were like, let's just all sound check together after they'd kind of gotten things a little bit keyed. And we did Howl, and it was the weirdest thing turning around and just seeing like the last 10 years of your life in terms of like music and friendship and business and playing in this theater that shouldn't have existed. It was amazing. It was a really good night. Probably my favorite show, like not even based on performance alone, just my favorite show we've ever done. It was just a really moving night for me, at least.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, the sound too was so good.
And also the people that showed up too, that was the other thing. I mean, like when we played the show, not only did we have all of our like OG and whatnot extended family, but like we had friends, family, fans, friends, fam fly in from like everywhere. And it was just so crazy to have like, you know, my best friends in the room, and then like Discord fam, and like my high school science teacher, you know, like randomness. But yeah, it was awesome.
John's mom was there.
That's
My
right.
mom was there.
Wait, John's mom was there?
My dad was there.
I know, it was nuts.
My
Wait,
brother
my
was
dad
there.
was there.
Your dad was there.
My dad was there. I think I never saw him though.
I think I saw him. I actually saw him.
My dad was there.
Your dad was
no.
there.
Your
So many
dad's
dads.
everywhere.
My dad is everywhere.
His dad is omnipresent.
He is.
Well, speaking, I mean, your dad and your mom were also at Romeo and Juliet in
They
Chicago.
were. And did any other parents fly out for that?
No.
No, just mom and dad. Thanks for flying, mom and dad. Romeo and Juliet. So we did this back in
November.
early days of TFC.
You mean way back.
Yeah, way back. We did this, a different yet similar version of it. Our friend Sam Bianchini kind of came up with this idea to take our music and fuse it with Romeo and Juliet, and
The story.
with the story.
Don't know if you've heard of it.
And yeah, it's an old. Who wrote it?
Some Bill,
Bill Nye.
some guy named
Yeah,
Bill.
Shake Nye. Anyway, she kind of took it and used our music at that point, which was primarily Village and some Brine, and then we did it down in LA, and it was really, really amazing. We met some of our best friends through that, and then did it in San Francisco. And then we didn't know if we'd ever do it again. And then we got a call, and she just started a new crew called the Jacaranda Collective, and they had wanted to put it on in Chicago. And we were like, all right. And I mean, they did a phenomenal job. We did it at a theater called the Heath, which is a beautiful room. We were on a stage, and the actors did the show in front of us, and our music was kind of half used as kind of background music and rewritten appropriately for those scenes, and then half the scenes in the play were kind of worked almost as like a live music video silent film to the larger songs in the set. But it was an amazing show. Hopefully we'll get to do it again in the near future. So, and for those of you who came out that are listening, thanks for coming. We had a really good time with you. Yeah. You guys have fun in Chicago?
Oh yeah.
We wanted to do it
yeah?
again, but now we can't play music live anymore.
Yeah. Well, at least not for a while.
Music's canceled.
Music's canceled
Nice.
probably till next year.
Just look to the future. Just know that someday we can all be together again.
I'm just excited that the next time that we're all on stage, we'll look like ZZ Top. I mean, that's going to be...
I have less hair. Look.
Yeah.
I know.
I've shaved a few times, or else it would be beardy status by now. I need a haircut
Look at this.
though. I know you do too. I desperately. It doesn't look that bad with the headphones on. Actually, I look pretty hot.
I straight up look like I straight up look like my Memoji now.
Right.
Which, I have this like weird like hair stuff.
Oh yeah,
so.
the I got the curlies coming back in the back there.
The flip.
Yeah, the flip. That's when it gets really annoying. It's like the rest of the hair's not too bad, but I got the flippies, and
So let's see, what else do we do? Oh, you know what? And then right after R&J, which now, I had a solo tour to promote our European tour that was supposed to be this March. And so I went out there and played for about 5 weeks, which was, for anyone that came to the shows, thank you so much for coming. It was so amazing getting to know so many amazing people. It's very weird being by yourself for that much time. But it wrapped up with Laura and I taking a honeymoon that is 6 years overdue.
Yes.
It was amazing.
We went to Italy, France, and Spain.
We didn't hang out together in any of these places. we showed up, we shook hands, and then we went our separate ways.
We were there at the very end of December through the first week of January, and then we flew home. And then a couple weeks later,
we went on
there
tour.
started to be reports of this mysterious virus that had surfaced in Asia. And we thought, hopefully that'll be resolved. That sounds alarming.
Well, I remember you and I listened to
and then we went on tour.
Yeah, you and I listened to that like back in, I think, mid-January. We listened to a podcast, The Daily, that the New York Times puts out.
I don't know. I don't think it was that early.
Well, it was before our tour. I know it was before our tour. I listened to a podcast before we left because I listened to it on the way to see my parents. And then we were on tour and it just started picking up slowly. But before we get into it, the tour was amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming out.
This was an American tour, by the way.
Yeah, this was the American tour. So let's start there. We went out on our American tour. It was unbelievably great to get to reconnect with our family and friends and
thanks to everybody who came to the show.
Yeah,
it was so nice.
We decided to do kind of a preview show for the War Act 2 coming soon to you.
Yeah, so a lot of you got a taste of some of those tracks.
I was just thoroughly impressed. I mean, I don't know why I'm always so shocked and impressed, but our fans are literally the greatest human beings ever. And we played at least 50% of the set was new music.
It was 50%, or maybe
maybe even
I think it was, at least 50.
Yeah. And the weirdest thing is, when you play new music, usually you're in this position where like people, might stand like this when they watch because they don't know the songs, they don't know the changes. And it was shocking, like, to me, how amazing the audience was when we played these new songs. Like they literally would learn the songs as they were going, so that by the second chorus, or even the second half of the first chorus, they were singing along. And I gotta say, like, I love you guys. It's always a pleasure to play music for you.
Our listeners are the best, greatest of all time,
hands down.
No question, no contest.
How many times could Liam say "I love you guys" in a podcast?
Probably you should do a tally count at the very end of this thing. Right? Love you guys, love.
New drinking game every time. Yeah,
that's a good drinking game. But I do love them. I got a lot of love in my heart. A lot of love. So that was really great. We brought out some really good friends of ours. Mr. Lawrence Pye.
Yeah, Jerry.
Also known as Scary Jerry.
Nobody knows him as that, but
we
do.
The only people who know him as that are us, and it's because we decided to sort of create this mythical legend about Jerry.
He's so mild-mannered, but
all things that we made up. But
one of the greatest people.
Culminated it in us calling him Scary Jerry, which he liked.
Yeah.
He would giggle.
Yeah, of course. And then Christian
Maselli on drums.
One of the nicest
Christian
human
Maselli,
beings.
an Italian who does not pronounce his last name the way an Italian would, which would be Michelli.
Who also looks like the most Irish dude on the planet. Like
Northern Italian, I guess.
He's the red beard. He's amazing. But we had a lot of fun with everybody. And on the way home, literally like the day we had heard rumblings, throughout the tour.
It was like a mild concern in the back of our heads, like, oh, this is something that's happening, but we didn't know
the coronavirus.
The coronavirus.
Just to be clear, we're talking about the coronavirus, and I remember when we were driving between, I think it was Durham and New Orleans. No, and New Orleans.
And Texas. We were going from Durham to Texas.
I remember just being a little more aware of it, and I was like,
right, because we talked about stopping at Walmart to get gloves and masks and stuff, and we had decided that we didn't have time to go to New Orleans for Mardi Gras. We had a day off that day, and we were thinking about maybe going there, and then we decided not to. We didn't have the time.
Well, and even then, I mean, if you recall, like, we went to a Walmart in the South and they did not have masks and gloves.
They were sold out of masks and gloves, which is when we realized, okay, maybe this is bigger than we thought.
And, I'm a total hypochondriac. So I called up our agent and was like, do we think like Like, how are we feeling about this? And
for the tour in Europe,
the European tour. And it was interesting because, you know, nobody really expected some people expected it, but I think most people didn't expect this to take the turn that it did. And overarchingly, you know, I was concerned, but not concerned in a, like, we might have to cancel the tour kind of a way. And at the very last day of our tour, we were driving back from Phoenix. And that was the first day that it started to really pick up in the United States. I think, around that time, somebody had passed away in the Pacific Northwest. So it was really on our radar. And for the next like week and a half, it was just, you know, we were edging up to this European tour, and we had a lot of conversations amongst ourselves in the band. Just, not only is it safe for us, like, that really wasn't at that time a huge concern, because at that time it was more known as like a disease that was really hitting the elderly more than people our age. And so that wasn't a prime concern, more than the idea that, okay, well, we're going to be going to Germany and Austria and, you know, Czech Republic, Switzerland, and we're going to be going all over the place to all these little areas. And if one of us gets it and you can't tell for 2 weeks, are we going to just be transmitting it all over to all these nook and crannies and getting people potentially sick? We were worried about like getting locked into a country, you know,
we were
like,
worried about our general health.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of ethical considerations.
What happens if somebody at home gets it and we can't come home, you know? And so, you know, after about it literally, I mean, this thing steamrolled very, very quickly as soon as we got home. I remember it was basically like 6 days after we got home.
So basically 6 days after we got home, we filmed a music video, and then there started being reports about borders being shut down in Europe. And then a few days later, there was a shelter-in-place order that went into effect in San Francisco. And there was basically a moratorium on people coming and going from the States if they weren't U.S. citizens. So, and we wouldn't have been able to move around in Europe at all. So,
yeah. And we were lucky because, you know, venues, agencies, everyone was really supportive. It's really, really hard to ever have to cancel anything. We were looking forward to getting out there. You know, we love playing for our European audiences. Just amazing experiences every time. And so it was kind of a heavy hit. But I think it was obviously, you know, the right decision. Because I mean, we've been, ever since we canceled, I don't think you basically came home like 5 days after that. And then we've basically been quarantined since then, you know? So, and now it's 4 months later or 3 months later.
When did it? I mean, it basically started in mid-March, so it's been
insane.
3 months.
Yeah, it's been 3 months.
Feels like 2 years, but yeah, it's only been 3 months.
I know, right?
I know.
No, going on tour and playing that Presidio show, that seems like 6 years ago now.
Yep.
Like,
it really does.
Completely
it's
different
so weird.
life. Completely different life.
Yeah, I was talking to Laura about, like, we were thinking about we were looking at photos of our honeymoon, and I was like, the idea of like going somewhere and walking around amongst people and doing these things seems like such an extreme luxury now that I had never. And I don't even mean just the vacation element. I mean, just the going outside and being around people without worrying is such a luxury now. And, you know, it's scary to think that.
Like, remember when we used to be like, oh, let's get fries for the table.
Yeah.
No more fries for the table.
Well, Darcy in Discord was saying in New Zealand, they've pretty much completely reopened because they got rid of the virus.
You know,
squashed it.
No, but she said she like went out.
Shout out to Jacinda Ardern.
She went out to like a bar or club or something. She was like, it was so weird.
I mean, New Zealand is where it's at. Let's be real.
Only we were
On
a
many levels.
tiny island in the middle of the ocean.
What's scary is, like, you look at somewhere like New Zealand where they're taking it as a culture whole really seriously. But in America, there's so many different cultural groups. And everyone's taking it in different states and different areas and different regions very differently. So you can't really mask how it's going on. And we also have just, you know, a problem, obviously, with what the honest truth is, and like people actually taking that in. People don't trust what they're seeing, so they don't, they don't see it in front of them. No, it hasn't affected anyone that they know, and then they see on the news that it's not real, or it's being blown out of proportion, and they see their leader saying that. They're obviously going to be like, oh well, I don't see it, so there it is. And it's scary because it's causing it to continually spread. I mean, I was talking to my dad today about it. Like, I think now one of the things that worries me the most is the idea of like Corona fatigue, where it's like everyone's so used to it being a part of their lives that they're not taking it as seriously as they did at the beginning. They're really pushing to open things up. And I understand that. But if you look at the actual trajectory of the virus, it really, in California especially, it's like it's a constant steady upstream that people are still getting sick. And if you keep up with the people like in like the CDC, and if you keep up with disease experts, like what freaks me out is that, their perspective is that if we all did come together and everyone wore masks, everyone took it really seriously for a month or two, then yeah, of course, like it would go down. But the problem is that some people don't, some people do. It's all over the place. And so you end up with this, like when they're asked, like, how long do you think we're going to be in quarantine? They're like, well, if we keep operating like this, 2021. Yeah.
Where I'm at, no one's wearing masks anymore.
Yeah.
I'm in a smaller town, yes, but like, yeah, no, and everything's open now, or like restaurants are opening now, and it's like there is a bunch of people.
Can you go into the restaurants?
No, it's all outdoor seating. You can go inside to like, and that or something, maybe to use the bathroom, but all the seating is outdoors. And they try to space the tables, but no one's wearing masks. Like, no, everyone's walking around not wearing masks. And
SF is doing that now. Restaurants are opening with outdoor seating now.
Yeah. But it's like if everyone just wore their mask, things would be able to open up faster. But
yeah, we took a trip to Yosemite, and like as soon as we were out of the Bay Area, nobody had a mask on.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Well, and this the thing that's what we said about Europe kind of stands true to me still. It's that, am I worried about getting sick? Well, of course I don't want to get sick. But what I'm more concerned about is the people that, this could really, really, really hurt. People that are predisposed, they already have like conditions. Like if I get it and I carry it and I don't know, and I happen to be somewhere else, and if a large portion of people are carrying it, I mean, like for us,
people who are uninsured or underinsured.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary time, and there's a lot of people that will probably disagree with like the idea that like some people are going to say, you're taking it too seriously. And the way, I don't think so, but the way I look at it too is like, well, okay, well, even if I am, like, even if there is a line of like, well, you're taking it too seriously, it's like, well, but I'm playing with somebody else's life in my mind, well, anytime
there's a Reddit thread I was reading, like people who've had it talking about it. And like, there's so many people who are like 28 who had it 3 months ago and have permanent scarring in their lungs that'll never go away, and like can't walk upstairs, and like have neurological problems and heart problems and liver problems and all this shit. So it's like, it's not just because you're young doesn't mean you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's a connection between young people who have it and who get strokes. Mm-hmm. There's now this very unusual inflammatory disorder that's being discovered in children. That's really scary. I just think
well, and the thing is too, like, it is scary. And a lot of people say like, well, we don't want to like push this fear mongering thing, but it's like, well, I wouldn't be nearly as scared if I knew that if everybody's equally as scared, they're actually going to be less scared because they're going to feel taken care of. Right. But the problem is that like there's so many unknowns based on like the actions where it's like, well, I can do whatever the hell I want because, it's my choice. Cause it's like, well, again, like what about the people that this could really affect? Like,
I mean, I basically always wear a mask because I'm not willing to be a person who's responsible for the death of another human being.
Yes, especially
because I don't want to wear a mask.
Yeah, because there's like the asymptomatic carriers and stuff. Like, we could be asymptomatic carriers.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like people should be really scared of getting COVID. I mean, I was saying to Liam earlier, I've had pneumonia twice. My lungs are slightly damaged from that, and when you have pneumonia, you do feel like you just feel like you're out of breath all the time. You can't take a deep breath. And as someone who has played an instrument that requires deep breaths, and I have a much bigger lung capacity than a lot of people, I know what it feels like to take a deep breath, and I know when I can't, and it's very scary. And COVID is that times 100, and it just, you feel like you're drowning, and it's really scary to feel that way. And I think that if people maybe took it a little bit more, if they thought about it in those terms, maybe they would maybe wear a mask.
Yeah, that's why I have this. This is gaseous oxygen in case anyone gets sick here.
See,
wow,
look
smart.
at you. Look at you. I mean,
Be right there.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I'm saying this and we're saying this, but like our industry is taking a serious pounding because of this, because, if you look at like the list of like when like we'll be able to go out and eat, when we'll be able to go hang out, the very bottom of the list is live events.
Yeah.
And so, it's in our best interest for people to want to be around each other and want to be going out. But like at the end of the day, like it's also in our best interest for all of y'all to be safe and for us to be safe. And, that's kind of where it is for us. Like, yeah, it's a scary, weird time to be alive for sure.
Yeah. And I'm realizing, I was just talking about how when you have pneumonia, you feel like you're drowning and you can't breathe. And, we have to just acknowledge the murders of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, whose last words were, "I can't breathe." And there are many other Black men in America whose last words have been, "I can't breathe." And, we're all still here. And I think, what I'll say is that I'm doing a lot of introspection and I'm trying to learn a lot about systemic racism and my place in that. I'm not an expert, and so I'm not really here to speak to really what any of us should be doing. I would point to, some literature. Maybe we'll link to it in the podcast notes or something that might be helpful, that I've found helpful. But, as someone who has experienced a teeny tiny, minuscule, like a fraction of the amount of racism as like, say, Liam has, like, all I'll say is that Black Lives Matter, and we're, as a band, I think that we're all committed to doing everything that we can, everything in our power to raise money, raise awareness, speak out, fight for racial justice.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotten to this point, at least in my opinion, in this country, where like this has happened so much that people just expect it now. And like, I'm not one to say that like, I'm not one to say that all police officers are bad, because I know some very good police officers, but I think that there's a problem in police culture with not feeling as a good officer safe enough to be able to say, hey, this guy is, going above and beyond what is acceptable, because they're afraid of, their own safety, people having their back, etc. But at the end of the day, we've seen it countless times. And, one of the things that was really important to me and really to me shows like how far it's gone is if you look at like the protests that have happened and you see that, you'll hear a lot of people say, well, like there was violent protests and this and this and this. But there's also a lot of aggravation coming from law enforcement who are supposed to be better. They're supposed to be that thing that's holding things to a specific level, And I've seen so many actions on video over and over again that are like so far beyond what is acceptable to treat anyone, let alone as somebody in a position of authority, that you yourself should know better. If anyone that was not a police officer did that, they'd be arrested. And it just blows my mind. And going back to the start of this, I grew up in a rural area. I was one of very few people, like Asian people in my school. I experienced a lot of racism, and what I experienced is like nothing in comparison to what the average Black person goes through on a daily basis here. And it's scarring. it really changes the way that you see yourself. It changes the way that you see your place in the world. It makes you question, you know, your worthwhile, you know, how worthwhile you are. I mean, like, I can't tell you how many times on my end I've thought like, well, I can't name any other or very few Asian frontmen, and therefore like there's no place for me in this industry. And I mean, that stems from a place. And, you know, people want to pretend that like racism in America is not as bad as it is in certain areas of the country. I mean, Laura and I can't even walk into certain places when we're on tour. We just won't do it because...
Well, we'll do it. We just don't like hold hands or hug our kids.
Yeah, because there's clear, you know, she's been called a race traitor. My father's been called a race traitor. You know, I mean, this shit like exists now. And I think...
Yeah, but I mean, again, being called a race traitor, like, I'm a white person of privilege. I don't care if I'm called a race traitor. That is a reflection of the person who's saying it, not a reflection on me.
Right.
And I haven't been scarred my whole life by this. Right.
We try in these podcasts not to get too political, but to me, this isn't political. This is just human rights. And like, you know, again, I can't even imagine the fear and anger that the Black community in America, in the world, goes through. And I've experienced some of this, and I can't even imagine what it's like. So we will...
I mean, I've had a traumatic run-in with the police, and I'm scared of the police. And again, I'm a white person of privilege. I can't even imagine. So
we're going to throw some organizations, some ways that you can donate into the video portion of the podcast. And we'll also link to some in the audio description on our website and stuff. And we'll tag a few at the very end of this podcast so that you guys have some access if you want to donate, if you want to help out. And all I would say, just to end this little segment, is, look, if you do believe that all lives matter, if you really believe that, and you see somebody treating somebody else clearly differently than you would yourself want to be treated, and you can tell it's based on their race, if it's unacceptable, then say something. At least say something. You know, like, do something, because it's going to keep happening if we don't say something. You know. Yeah, so I don't want to end this thing on a terribly depressing note. I mean, we're in a really strange spot in the world right now, because, I mean, literally every day it seems like something new happens. Actually, we should actually talk about one last thing that's unfortunately depressing, but the trans community, the LGBT community, just had a bunch of rights taken away from them. And we in our band have a lot of friends and family that are a part of that community. It is shockingly heartbreaking to me that this is happening. And it's not right. You know, so we're going to throw some other organizations in as well for that, below and at the end of this thing. But we're with you guys. We love you guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that our country sucks so much right now.
We'll do what we can
when it comes to human rights.
Mitigate some of the pain.
Yeah. To sum it up, I mean, everything is so ridiculously weird right now that if, you know, a UFO landed in Iowa tomorrow and I woke up to that news, I wouldn't be too shocked.
Hey, I just wanted to jump in here and give a quick update. Since we recorded that episode, the next day, the Supreme Court actually ruled that federal civil rights law protects gay, lesbian, and transgender workers. So just wanted to throw that in there, just so it all makes sense. All right.
But I think the things to take away from this, to move this towards a positive light, are, you know, in terms of COVID-19, we have this unique opportunity, I think. When in the world was the last time that literally the entire world was going through something like this, where everyone in the world is, for the most part, on lockdown of some sort and quarantine and going through the same kind of psychological turmoil that involves withholding yourself up.
It's true.
And, you know, you have a lot of people spending time online, and you can either choose to come together with that and like realize that we're all in the same boat here and we could do good, or we can do bad. And I suggest doing good, like reconnecting with old friends, like not starting flame wars over things, you know, like I'm pissed off as hell, but you're not going to see me getting into an argument over a comment section on Instagram or Facebook, because nothing good's going to come out of that. You know, you're on a stage when you do that, and you end up alienating yourself and other people to try to prove a point, you know?
But we're trying to contribute in ways that we can. So we're doing weekly live streams. There's been a request, actually. Owen, someone has requested that you do a live stream of some violin pieces.
Ooh.
I have been practicing every day, so.
So
Ooh,
I
nice.
I think that has to happen. I also
how about
offered
String
Flute
Sunday?
Friday with Laura.
Flute Friday, String Sunday.
It was actually kind of funny. So at first in lockdown, I didn't really practice at all because it was just hard to find motivation. It felt very pointless. But I did promise the Discord that I would play. I picked 2 incredibly difficult excerpts, and I was like, I'll play these. But now I have like a reason to practice. So I've been trying to practice German every day for 45 minutes and violin every day for 45 to an hour. It's nice. It kind of gives you
I
something
have a
like
question.
do.
If
Yeah,
I could get somebody to record the piano part for this, and I don't know if it's possible because they're so like integrated together. But would you record the Debussy
Violin Sonata.
Violin Sonata?
What if it was Liz Dorman?
Yeah, that's who I'm
What if we
thinking.
asked Liz Dorman? Maybe she would do it.
I mean, I could try. That'd be fucking hard to put together. But
It would be like Music -1. Do you remember
yeah, I
Music
do.
-1?
Yeah, they
Owen?
picked things with really steady tempos, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically Music -1, for those of you who do not know, is an orchestra recording without the soloist.
Mhm.
So you could practice your concerti without, you know, with an actual accompaniment to get a feel for it.
I think you should try it. I'm gonna try to get her to do it.
I've never played it, so I'd have to learn it, but yeah.
I think it would be really cool to do some kind of live stream of some of the classical instruments doing some stuff. And one thing we're talking about, and we're trying to figure out exactly the best way to do it. There's obviously a lot of moving parts in this band. So we're trying to figure out the best way to be able to come together and do some stuff. So hopefully we can figure that out sooner rather than later, but we are working on it. We are working on getting this record ready for you guys. You know, we're all like locked in, and usually there is you
the
want to
supply chain is being worked out now, thankfully.
Yeah.
So it's coming soon.
Yeah, usually you want to like put it together with a tour and with all sorts of stuff, but we were kind of like, we want to get this thing out. We've been sitting on it. We and you've been waiting for it. So we're gonna get it to you as soon as we possibly can.
It's so good, you guys. I know you're not supposed to say that about your own record, but I had to listen through it a couple times to just like double. We do some processes, and I had to listen through it to do one of my assignments in the record release process, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember like doing this, or like, oh my god, like that instrument sounds so good. It's it's
well,
so good. It's
okay,
such a good record.
let's be honest. The reason why the record sounds so good is because. Should we tell them?
I'm just so proud of it. I'm just so proud of it.
We decided as a band to remove 99% of the instruments, and it's all basically just John. Every once in a while you hear a ride cymbal, but all of
Just
the
a
songs
ride.
are
just for reference and percussion.
just for
But
reference.
me. It's mainly me doing like trying to do all the parts just with my voice, you know, like oh, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
Maybe little percussion stuff. Yeah, you know, human horn type things, you know, scoobity shaw, you know, stuff like
Scoobity
that.
scraw.
Yeah, scoobity scraw. But
So
Shuba
get
Taylor,
ready, because you're
RIP.
gonna be so excited when you hear it. I mean, John's scatting and bass playing and human horn sounds and body noises are just
It's next level.
astonishing.
It's next level if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you're brilliant. It was amazing. So we'll get that to you guys real soon. And if you are still feeling this quarantine thing and you want to tune in, I definitely will be playing every other Thursday. I've been doing a cover series
or kind of a niche theme.
Yeah, like a themed series. So far I've done, let's see if I get this right, Smashing Pumpkins, 80s. What else have I done?
You did 90s or
90s,
2000s pop or something.
Pop.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was an interesting voyage.
Yeah.
You did a tribute to your favorite Black artist.
I did. Oh, I did jazz.
Yeah, they like the jazz
Which
one. They like
my-
that one.
My favorite. And you know what? If you're not going to tune into these shows to listen to me play, you got to tune in to just see my dad's comments
The Mark McCormick comments.
Totally.
on
Fire.
the message board.
McCormick
I mean,
comments,
he's on fire all
He is
the
on
time.
fire.
Yeah, but and then also, so that happens every other Thursday at 5:30.
5:30 Pacific
Standard
time. Yeah.
Yeah, and then every Saturday I've been doing one at about 4 p.m.
It's usually TFC stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe with
it's
one
mostly
cover,
TFC
so.
stuff. Every once in a while I'll throw in a
We keep it
cover
short.
or
It's a
stuff.
tight 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes they go a little longer.
John hosts in the chat. I pop in
I
there
do.
occasionally. It's fun. It's nice.
And like I said, we're gonna try to put some other stuff together so that, you know, you're not just seeing my ugly mug. You're gonna see all of our ugly mugs except for her pretty mug. So yeah, we'll get working on this for you guys. But if you're bored and you wanna tune in, there's fam there for you. And that's actually, honestly, let's leave with that. Our fam, you guys are
Fam,
the best.
Discord fam.
Dude, every week
Fam,
they get on
fam.
there and they're so ridiculously supportive of each other and so cute. They'll like it's like this weekly reunion love
Love
fest.
fest.
Mhm.
It's amazing. And it's so funny to like see, you know, people, just people commingling from like all sorts of different regions of the world and parts of our lives.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
have people from Brazil, from Japan. It's amazing. Europe. We've had like all at once.
and Phoenix.
It's
You
so
can't forget
exciting. Oh, yeah,
Phoenix.
Phoenix,
Phoenix,
of course.
Arizona.
And
course.
Phoenix, Calaveras County.
Every
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, Mark McCormick representing Calaveras County.
Yeah, it's true. So tune in for those if you guys want a little TFC stuff. And everyone that we've done is on our Facebook videos thing. So if you really want a journey, I did every single Family Crest song in about
Except for Home for Christmas, which we
because I'm
keep
not
hearing
doing that.
about.
It's not Christmas yet.
We
You know?
see you and we hear you, and we probably won't play Home for Christmas. Just kidding. I'm sure Liam will find a way.
You know, I could change it to be like a quarantine theme. You know, I hope this shit is done by New Year.
Oh, yeah, we should do that. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Yeah. Oh, the stars in the
Home
sky.
after
How I missed them
quarantine.
tonight.
All right, you got
Yeah.
a project for this
There you
week.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
All right,
Surprising.
bros.
All right, guys. Well,
Well-
it's been fantastic seeing you, kind of.
Kinda.
It's been fantastic
Kind of.
for you to see us. No, I'm just kidding.
John,
It has.
I mean, John, you're so well lit. You've got
I
you
do.
have the whatever ring light situation type of thing.
It's
Owen, you have the natural light. That's good. We have natural light, so we're golden
it's
right
dark
now.
where I am, so
All right, y'all. Well, we'll see you real soon. We love you, and
Love you.
thanks, guys.
Ciao.
subscribe and rate. Thank you all.
Rate,
Bye-bye.
subscribe, rate 5s, 10s, whatever the highest is.